Hey, what is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video. I'm gonna do my first college basketball video and kind of just show you what my technique is for college basketball. It's very similar to NBA, and which is also very similar to my baseball. A lot of my techniques are very similar. I keep it that way. I like to try and keep the same structure through each sport league. But for whatever reason, my college basketball just hits at a much higher rate than everything else that I do. And I'm okay with that. But it is interesting. So we're going to go over some of these games here that I've done in the last week. And we'll take a look at, I don't know if I did anything on 18. Oops. Colorado, no, I didn't make a pick on that one. It's not high. We'll go to 17. Florida State, I didn't make a pick there. And then Butler. So we'll look at these games really quick. I don't have the date numerology. I erased it. I'm all the way back to the 5th. I don't know, when was this one? Hold on. On the 31st, December 31st. My decodes for college basketball are very simple. So we have the head-to-head in the middle, the away team up top, which with the coach's record, the home team on the bottom with the coach's record. Without getting too much detail, 14th game for Florida State. They get their 43rd win head-to-head against Georgia, 43 the 14th prime. I marked the 67 here. That must have been a date numerology connection to the Gregorian since I marked the Gregorian gray. I remember it must be a 1222 connection to the Hebrew civil that day since I marked it that color. But that was really all it took to make that pick. I guess I didn't have enough here to make this pick. For the Butler over St. John's, it was Butler's third away game as well as St. John's 11th home game. St. John's with the loss became 11-3, like 1-1-3, 11th home game. They stayed on 11 wins, got their third loss. Butler's third away game, 11-3, 1-1-3. Butler was the 11th seed at the time of this game, and they became 13-1 for the season, 131. Their coach stayed on 32 losses as a coach for Butler. 131 is the 32nd prime number. And then he picked up his 61st win as a coach. And then 61 sums to 131. So there's like this 131 theme there. Let's go to another one. Let's see what's in 18. Yeah, that's right. I didn't make a pick in 18. 19. Didn't make a pick there. Let's go to 20. Okay, Kansas, Auburn. I lost the Utah pick, and then San Diego State. So, what day was this? Go back. The 4th. Do I have 4th? Nope, I have the 5th. So this one will be without date numerology too. But the reason why I picked Kansas wasn't even because of date numerology. It was the 13th game for Kansas on the season. It was the 13th game for West Virginia on the season, and Kansas picked up their 13th win head-to-head against West Virginia. And that's really all I marked to pick Kansas to win this game. I did mark the 281. This is a connection probably to the Hebrew civil calendar because it's cantaloupe, and the Hebrew civil calendar I have is a cantaloupe color here on the left side. But yeah, 13, 13, 13 is why I picked it. Auburn over Mississippi State. It's again the 13th game for Auburn, the 13th game for Mississippi. Auburn goes 13-0 for the season. There's a connection between the 94 and the 147 on Mississippi State. So Mississippi State falls to 9-4 on the season, and their coach's 147th game as a coach for Mississippi State. And there's some Gematria here. So 94 sums to 147. So that's why I had Auburn. And then I lost the Utah pick to Oregon. I believe Utah was an underdog that day, but no excuses. I summed it up as Utah in their 14th game of the season. They became 10-4. Um, the word 14 sums to 104. 14, 104. And then Oregon got their 21st loss, or excuse me, 21st win head to head as they become 2-1, like 21 on the road. So this pick loss for me, San Diego State. This was an interesting one, 52nd game as a coach for the Utah State. Um, 52, sums to 124. And San Diego State became 12-4 head to head against Utah State. I remember they had, that's right, San Diego State was a potential upset. Utah was a potential upset, and then the Auburn and Kansas were favorites. And so I went 3-1 that day. This one was the potential upset. So I got one of the two potential upsets. San Diego State was the upset. 17th game for the season for Utah State. The word 17 sums to 134, and that was their record. That's what they became. 17th game, they became 13-4 for the season. It was the fourth day. That's right. It was the fourth day of January. They got their fourth loss while staying on four losses head to head against San Diego State, where San Diego State became 4-0, 4 away record, as well as 4-0 for the conference. And it was both their fourth conference game. So it was like a nice four pattern there. And then the 52 and the 12-4, and the 17 and the 13-4. Let's keep moving. Where was I? 19. I think we just did 20. Yeah, Kansas. So 21. Michigan State. So this was on Sunday. I have the date numerology here. This is Sunday the 5th, January the 5th. So Michigan State over Michigan. Michigan State was the favorite in this game, so no biggie. But the reason why I picked it was 12. Michigan was the 12th seed on Sunday. Michigan State got their 12th win head to head, or not head to head, but 12th win for the season against the 12th seed Michigan. Michigan became 1-2, like 12 in their conference. It was their 14th game of the season. They became 10-4. 14 sums to 104. I just showed you an example of that on another game. 14, 104. And then I have this highlighted here. It's the third away game, the eighth home game, kind of like the word 38 or the number 38. 38 sums to 68. And Michigan State picked up their 68th head-to-head against Michigan. Nothing too crazy. And then this was on Monday, West Virginia. West Virginia versus Oklahoma State. I don't think I even used date numerology for this pick. It was, what did I do? Oh yeah, 16th head-to-head game between the two teams. Oklahoma State becomes 5-3 at home for the season. 53 is the 16th prime number. And also 53 sums to 122 as well as 148. And it was the 14th game of the season for Oklahoma State and their 8th home game. So you got this 14-8 like 148, and then West Virginia becomes 12-2 like 122. 53 sums to 122 and 148. So I didn't even use date numerology for that pick. It was just game numbers. And then we'll look at this last one here, which was yesterday. Did Maryland over Ohio State, Louisville over Miami, lost to Boston College, and Virginia won. Caught the upset. Rugers, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Rugers over Penn State, upset, slight upset, nothing major. Baylor over Texas Tech, upset, and then Kentucky over Georgia. And then I kind of liked Villanova, but I didn't pick them, so I can't count it. Cannot count it. Nope. So on the Maryland one, Ohio State, the 11 seed. They stay on 11 wins. Maryland becomes 3-1 for the conference. 31, the 11th prime. The Maryland coach gets his 443rd win as Maryland becomes 8-6 head-to-head against Ohio State. 443 is the 86th prime number. That's why I picked Maryland. Louisville over Miami. This one was interesting. It was the 4th away game for Miami, and it was the 11th home game for Louisville. Louisville had a chance to become 11-4 for a record. However, I didn't pick them because their coach was sitting on 114 or 114 losses. And at the same time, the Miami coach was able to pick up his 411th loss. So you got the 411 here. You have this coach sitting on 114, 11th home game, 4th away. I went this route versus this route. Plus, it was the 17th head-to-head, and Louisville coach was sitting on 17 losses as a coach for Louisville, which he stayed at in the 17th head-to-head. And then 17 sums to 134, and Louisville becomes 13-4 against Miami. Boston and Virginia. I lost this one. I think it's because of the 15. It was the 15th game for Boston College, and they just simply stayed on 15 losses head-to-head against Virginia, picking up their 8th. It definitely wasn't the 23-55 that I was thinking, or the 7-7. So I assume it's probably the 15 for whatever reason. And I just got to keep it moving, I guess. But this was a cool one. Home game, 11th home game for the season for Rooters. Rooters, I think it's pronounced. I apologize. 11th home game for Rooters. Penn State, 3rd away game, like 113. Rooters coach, 113th game as a coach for the team. 113 is the 30th prime number. And Rooters got their 30th head-to-head win against Penn State as they pick up their 3rd loss for the season in their 3rd away game. So that was cool. That was a good one to hit. Baylor does the upset. This one was kind of cool too. Baylor picked up their 11th win. They were on a 10-game win streak. They picked up their 11th win in a row and became 12-1 on the season for a record. 121 has a square root of 11. So they pick up their 11th win in a row while also going 1-1 for a record on the season. Who was also the Texas Tech's coach, 121st game coaching as their coach. And the number 4 seed Baylor gave them their 4th loss of the season. And there's a couple other things here too, which were kind of, I don't know, kind of a little more detail, but can't tell if they matter or not, but it is interesting they sync up. And then Kentucky was a big one. Oops, I didn't even switch the page on. Or was it set? Yeah, it was this day. So what was interesting is on the Hebrew Civil for yesterday, these are the games that were played yesterday. Hebrew Civil had the 10th day of the 4th month, like 104. The word 14 sums to 104. And it was the 14 seed Kentucky playing their 14th game of the season, and Georgia was playing their 14th game of the season. Either team had a chance to become 10-4, 10-4 on the 10th day of the 4th month, where the word 14 sums to 104. And it's the 14th seed, 14th game, their 14th game as well. The reason why I chose Kentucky is because Georgia's coach was sitting on 377 wins, and 377 is the 14th Fibonacci number. So that's what gave me the idea to pick Kentucky. And then Villanova won, but I didn't pick them, so I can't count them. But yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. Yesterday, 6-1, 7-1. I don't think I made any picks here. Oh, 8-1, 9-1, 9-2, 10-2. So I'm about 10-2 in college basketball for the week, for the last week. And that's not bad. Eleven and 2, 12 and 2, 13 and 2. Didn't even do the villain. We didn't even talk about the Villanova one. So yeah, 13 and 2 since what day was that? 12 since December 30th. So that's not bad. That's not terrible. But this is my first college basketball video. Hope you guys learned a little bit with how I do college basketball. It's very similar to my NBA, but for whatever reason, college basketball just yields way better results for me, even though I'm doing the same exact thing as I'm doing with NBA or MLB or anything else. So thanks for checking out this video. Thanks, guys.